Introducing the Chefman 1.8 digital electric kettle. It has some features that you may not be aware of. For example, it has presets for various tea types. So first it's got a built-in tea infuser that's removable. I often don't use it and just use it to make hot water. But let's start off with setting the display between centigrade and Fahrenheit. I like to display in centigrade. Holding both buttons down simultaneously, up and down, will toggle between the two. So one of the cool features is the preset of the temperature for each of the types of teas as you see listed here. Each one has a different achieved temperature, and there's also a steeping time on the right side of the chart. I'll show you how those work. Stepping up, it changes the temperature until you hit the preset temperature. When you get to the two tea types, herbal and black tea, there are some differences in the steep time, and then when you set boil, it has a different mode of operation, which I'll show you. It's really cool. So when I'm making an herbal tea, I often use the infuser that comes with the product. However, putting it in can be a little tricky. If you don't put it in just right and it falls in, pulling it back out can be tedious. So what you do when you put it in is hold between your fingers, put the bottom towards the front of the kettle, and then slide it down carefully and then stand it up straight up and down. To remove it, you pinch the center bar and rotate the bottom slightly forward and then pull up. Just remember that if you're removing it after you've made tea, it's going to be hot, so be careful. So I'm now going to show you how each of the presets work. Pressing any button in sleep mode will wake it up, and it'll show you the last setting that you had. So we're going to start with delicate tea at 70 degrees. Pressing start stop will get the heater element to get going, and it'll count up to the desired temperature for that tea type. So this is where the special feature comes in. When it reaches the temperature, it shows steep. In this case, it's 3 minutes. If you press the start-stop button, it'll count down 3 minutes, allowing you to steep your tea for 3 minutes. Don't forget, of course, to put in the tea infuser with your selected tea. And your tea is now ready to be poured. You can leave the infuser in if you like. When you lift up the tea kettle to pour, the light goes out, of course, because there's no power. But when you put it back, it resumes counting down in keep warm mode for about another 45 minutes, keeping your tea warm. So I'm just going to blast through some green tea, and then I'll show you the white tea setting. It's pretty much the same thing for each of the different tea levels. When it reaches the temperature, it'll go into steep mode when you press the button. When the display shows steep, we press the steep button to count down. When it's ready, it'll beep. At this point, you can pour your cup of tea, replace the kettle back on the base, and it'll go into keep warm mode for 45 minutes. Enjoy your tea. So basically, when you see steep mode pop up, it shows you how long it's going to steep for. You press the start-stop button and the steeping process begins until it counts down to the temperature. So here I'm going to show you herbal, which is 100 degrees Celsius. Black tea, which is also 100 degrees Celsius. However, it has a different steep time, so pay note to that. And finally, I'm going to show you the boil mode, which is a little bit different. It reaches 100 degrees, and instead of going into steep mode, the display goes into keep warm mode. This is where you would pour the water out into your coffee. In this case, I use a French press to make my coffee. Now it has an interesting feature, so pay attention. After you pour the water, when you place the kettle back on the base, the keep warm timer resets to 0 and counts up. Now in the case of my coffee, in the French press, I like to let it steep for 3.5 minutes. And so this is my request for a future update to the features from Chefman, that in the boil mode, rather than counting up, have it count down to a preset time, such as 3.5 minutes, and then beep, just like it does in the tea making mode. And now it's time to enjoy a nice, well-deserved cup of coffee. Thank you for watching this little video. I hope you found these tips useful, and enjoy. Thank you.